According to NBA rumors, Lakers may have a plan for Russell Westbrook. While Russell Westbrook is unlikely to take a buyout, the Lakers are unlikely to keep him around. Now it seems that a trade may be the only real way for the Lakers to break ties with Westbrook. Let's separate fact from fiction and learn the real scoop for Westbrook's divorce from the Lakers. Everyone has a plan, and for Russell Westbrook, he's made it very clear that he intends to be back with the Lakers next year. His option of going into the $47 million player contract for the 2022-23 season is still valid. The tricky part comes in as the Lakers front office has to decide how they want to play this. The ball is figuratively in their court, pun intended. While it feels unlikely that either party would actually want to run things back after a truly disastrous first year together in Los Angeles, if the team can't find a trade for Westbrook this summer and are dead set against bringing him back, one other option they could utilize is the waive and stretch provision of the collective bargaining agreement. With this terminology, stretching, in the provisions, it means that the Lakers could indeed cut him at any point from July 1st to August 31st and spread the final year of his deal over the next 3 seasons. So they could essentially split up his massive final year into 3 slightly more manageable $15.6 million cap hits. If the Lakers opt for this stretching, this would more than likely allow them to afford Malik Monk, who was quoted saying he would love to come back to the Lakers next season after finding a home in Los Angeles that led to a breakout season. As for the real scoop of whether the Lakers are actually going to stretch Westbrook's contract, official word has not yet been given. However, here's the inside projections. Veteran NBA insider Mark Stein wrote on Substack that the team has not ruled out opting for the stretch. Fisher of Bleacher Report announced that he's been told such a scenario is unlikely to occur. Ramona Shelburne of ESPN was the latest to report on the issue. And, according to her sources, it doesn't sound like the Lakers are willing to exchange future flexibility for a bit more wiggle room in the short term. So, it's a real brain teaser as to what actions the Lakers will execute. Perhaps a trade is still on the table and they'll opt for that path. But where did it all start? How did Westbrook end up here? Well, Westbrook's decline has been obvious for years. When he first appeared on the NBA scene, Westbrook maintained a reputation as a high-usage player. During his 2016-17 MVP campaign, his usage rate was a record 41.7%. Unfortunately, Westbrook's decline was easily noticeable in his win shares. He began to regress significantly in each of the last 5 years since his NBA debut. According to NBA statistics, after his MVP season, Westbrook's WS-48 figures began to drastically decrease to embarrassing numbers. In 2016-2017, his WS-48 was astonishing at .224. The following year, that decreased to .166. In the 2018-2019 season, it slipped down to .124. Then, the negative pattern continued to .098 in 2019-2020. 2020 through 2021 saw no difference, as Westbrook only hit a WS-48 of .075. Now, as of January 2022, those numbers lay in waste at .041. In summary, Westbrook went from more than twice better than average to below average in 3 seasons. This has caused Russell Westbrook to be one of the most scrutinized players in the NBA. It's gotten to a point where numerous NBA players are beginning to stand up in defense of Westbrook because fans have been harassing, bullying, and even sending death threats to Westbrook due to his abysmal performance. Stephen Curry felt compelled to speak out. Curry released a statement with Yahoo Sports where he talked about his support for Westbrook. He was quoted saying, "I told him when we played them in LA a couple of days ago that I respect how he's handled this whole year, just in terms of everything he's been saying and how he's been handling himself and protecting his family. It is the nature of the beast, and in a certain perspective, they build you up to break you down. The real ones who have done amazing things in this league know what that means. He's a professional, and I'm proud of the way he's conducting himself, and I'm there for him." Then, on Fox's Sports Club Shay Shay podcast with Shannon Sharp, Sharp asked Damian Lillard about Russell Westbrook's dire decline in performance. Lillard didn't hesitate to speak very highly of Westbrook, as he said, What he's accomplished, the things he's done, nobody else has been able to do it. Russell Westbrook's career and legacy is undeniable. That's just the bottom line. Lillard also added that the triple-doubles that Westbrook has achieved are not something that is easy to do, even if someone intentionally focused on just those feats. Lillard was quoted saying, "If I try to go to every game and get a triple-double for a whole season, I can't do it. And there's a lot of other people that can't do it either." These quotes from Lillard heard around the world as Lillard is a popular NBA star, and Westbrook surely has averaged a triple-double for an entire season 4 different times, effectively making Westbrook a living legend. He was considered a resilient player, always hustling at turbo. This spawned his nickname, Beastbrook, as he demonstrated this work ethic with the Oklahoma City Thunder. But it all mysteriously vanished. And now, the Lakers have a major setback, which puts them in this current position. What shall they do with Westbrook? There's no easy way to change the core group of James, Davis, and Westbrook. The Lakers were reluctant to incentivize a trade for Westbrook by adding in their 2027 first-round pick at the trade deadline, especially when they have so few future draft assets to trade following the acquisition of Davis in 2019. Sources said they are similarly disinclined to tie up their salary cap in the future via a waive and stretch provision after finally completing the waive and stretch deal for Luol Deng this season, which came out to $5 million of the Lakers' cap in 2021-22, becoming dead money from Deng's deal. Due to the monstrous $47 million salary of Westbrook, Lakers don't have much leverage for making deals. If the Lakers are truly at the end of their rope with Westbrook, meaning a trade can't be found and stretching is truly off the table, reports from NBA insiders suggest that Westbrook isn't planning to take a buyout either. So, where does that leave Westbrook and the Lakers? Well, Westbrook is definitely considering a buyout of the final year of his contract. But at least for now, sources close to the 2017 MVP express pessimism that he would go that route. Here's the dire straits that the Lakers face. There is no reason for Westbrook or any of his teammates or other colleagues to admit that they would take less money to bail out the Lakers at this point. And on the same note, the Lakers have no motivation to preemptively announce that they will consider paying Westbrook his entire salary to play for another team. So obviously, regardless of all the posturing that should be taken with a big grain of salt, it's worth noting that just buying Westbrook out wouldn't get the team any extra cap room or anything. Westbrook's cap hit would be the same unless they stretch it. They'd just save a bit of coin on ownership's final bill by buying him out. So, if Westbrook doesn't earn his salt, that is exactly what they might do. Truth be told, a buyout or stretching Westbrook were never likely to be the Lakers' first options for how to handle this. The safer bet is that the Lakers will try everything in their power to trade him when the NBA draft approaches and more teams are open for more business and negotiations. If the Lakers can't find a deal for Westbrook and his presence on the roster lingers into August, then buyout or stretching negotiations will surely become tangible items on the table. The Lakers are going to take a hit if they're going to get rid of Westbrook. It's just a matter of assessing which hit hurts less and can help the team win more. What do you think the Lakers will do? And if it were all in your control, what would you recommend the Lakers do? Comment down below with your ideas for the Lakers and your opinion about Russell Westbrook.